Sandman.
Greetings friends. Continuing the series of videos on Howard Lovecraft's universe, today, I would like to tell you about one very interesting and mysterious creature that can command storms and winds, also known as Ithaqua. Ithaqua, also known as the Windwalker or the Wendigo, is an eldritch entity that appears in the Cthulhu Mythos stories of Howard Lovecraft and other authors. Ithaqua is envisioned as a horrifying supernatural entity, often manifesting as a towering, emaciated humanoid with glowing red eyes and the antlers of a great stag. Though Ithaqua's origins are unclear, it is thought to inhabit the frozen north, stalking desolate Arctic wastelands and preying upon lost travelers and frontier settlements. In Lovecraft's short story, The Windwalker, Ithaqua is described as a gigantic, formless thing that roams the frigid wastes of the north, bringing gale-force winds and deadly blizzards in its wake. The story's narrator, a trapper named Cabot, witnesses Ithaqua sweeping down from the mountains with the sound of a hurricane, leveling trees and devastating the landscape. This powerful elemental force seems to have a malevolent will, purposefully targeting Cabot and his companions by conjuring a snow squall to bewilder them and leave them to freeze to death. Though the men survive the ordeal, it is strongly implied that Ithaqua is an active, hostile entity rather than a mere storm. The Windwalker also features prominently in Lovecraft's novel, The Whisperer in Darkness. Set in the isolated hills of rural Vermont, the story centers on strange sounds and phenomena linked to alien creatures hiding in the forests. In one harrowing scene, the protagonist becomes lost while hiking and meets the gaze of a towering, wizened figure standing amongst the trees, Ithaqua itself. Despite the entity's horrifying visage, the protagonist experiences an inexplicable wave of intense cold and alien mathematics, as if making contact with an intelligence utterly unlike man's. He loses consciousness, only to awaken back home, plagued by traumatic nightmares in which Ithaqua and other cosmic horrors crash through. These accounts establish Ithaqua as more than just a monster, it is a conduit to profound cosmic truths that can overwhelm feeble human minds. The mere glimpse of Ithaqua is enough to induce sanity-shattering visions and blackouts. As later Cthulhu Mythos authors expanded on Ithaqua's legend, more mystical qualities were revealed. Ithaqua is not bound by terrestrial limits, capable of teleporting across incredible distances in the blink of an eye, even to other worlds or dimensions. Space and time pose no obstacle to the Windwalker should it take notice of a hapless soul. Some sorcerers versed in eldritch magic or the alleged corpses of aliens deep beneath the pole are said to be able to forge pacts with Ithaqua, securing passage on its limitless travels in exchange for human sacrifices and eldritch tokens of tribute. August Derleth, Lovecraft's close correspondent and literary executor, provided considerable development of Ithaqua in his own Cthulhu Mythos writings. In Derleth's schema, Ithaqua is one of the Great Old Ones, primeval cosmic entities who ruled Earth long before the dawn of man. As humanity rose to prominence, the Great Old Ones were banished or imprisoned in strange dimensions, though they remained determined to one day return and reclaim our planet. Ithaqua is thus a sort of exiled god or fallen angel in Derleth's conception, stranded on the frozen frontier of the mortal world awaiting its time to rise again. Derleth also associates Ithaqua with other figures in Algonquin legend, in particular the cannibalistic spirit known as the Wendigo. The Wendigo is thought to possess human beings, turning them into ravenous, inhumane monsters with a craving for human flesh. This links Ithaqua to grisly taboos against cannibalism, evoking its monstrous, corruptive hunger. Modern depictions of Ithaqua often fuse it directly with the Wendigo, depicting it as a towering, emaciated humanoid with an unending craving for slaughter and consumption of mortal life. In the role-playing game Call of Cthulhu by Chaosium, Ithaqua is characterized as one of the most powerful Windwalker spirits, forever seeking to intrude into our reality from its alien dimension. Worship of Ithaqua is said to persist in secretive occult circles across the world's northernmost reaches, from the remote wilds of Alaska to the Siberian tundra. Seekers of forbidden knowledge pay hideous sacrifices to Ithaqua in return for strange magics and glimpses of cosmic truths, though such terrible dealings often end in insanity. More recent Cthulhu Mythos authors have continued to explore and expand Ithaqua's unsettling legend. In Ithaqua's Pilgrimage, by William Meikle, the entity is portrayed almost sympathetically, going on a journey to find remnants of beings it once knew in old Earth's long-lost past. The story provides a melancholy perspective on Ithaqua's eternal solitude and near-godlike lifespan, which has made it the last of its ancient kind. Still, Meikle retains Ithaqua's frightening aura of menace, with towns and homesteads meeting grisly fates as Ithaqua wanders forlornly by. Ithaqua figures prominently in Brian Lumley's Titus Crow mythos series, ruling the iceworld of Borea. In Lumley's works, Ithaqua periodically treads the winds of space between Earth and Borea, bringing helpless victims back to Borea to worship him among its snowy wastes. Caitlin Kiernan's chilling tale, And I Shall Their Quarry Be, part of the New Cthulhu anthology, sees Ithaqua stalking a turn-of-the-century Arctic expedition for mysterious and possibly ritualistic purposes. As members of the doomed crew perish or disappear one by one, Kiernan evokes the entity's weirdly alien nature, utterly uncaring about individual human lives yet seemingly intent on a greater unknowable design. Even as it closes in on the last survivors, Ithaqua's true motives and predatory intelligence remain terrifyingly opaque. In the modern era, Ithaqua's image persists in horror media as an eerie symbol of the remorseless hostility of the natural world towards mankind. Ithaqua and other Cthulhu Mythos entities appealingly dramatize our fear that the cosmos is devoid of meaning or human values. Stories of Ithaqua represent the sheer indifference of the infinite void, populated by entities whose merest presence crushes our pretensions to significance. Yet as eternal wanderer of the endless Arctic wastelands, Ithaqua embodies those evocative vistas of bleak sublimity that draw us in even as they dwarf us utterly.